Follow up with you. This crisis in Flint, as you know, as everybody in this room knows, was created by the government. Your policies are about expanding government. Why should people from Flint trust that more government is the answer?
Well, that's a good point, Anderson. I suppose they can trust the corporations who have destroyed Flint by a disastrous trade policy, which have allowed them to shut down plants in Flint and move to China and Mexico. We could trust them, I'm sure. Or maybe, maybe, Anderson, tell you what, maybe we should let Wall Street come in and run the city of Flint, because we know their honesty and integrity has done so much for the American people. Look, we live in a democracy, and I'm not the last person to deny the government is failing in many respects. But at the end of the day, I will trust the people to create a government that works for them rather than Wall Street or corporate America.
Secretary Clinton, you've now both called for the governor to resign. I believe that's new for you. Previously, you had not called for that, but you're calling for that tonight. It's easy to blame the Republican governor, Rick Snyder, but the federal government also dropped the ball here. According to Section 1414 of the Safe Drinking Water Act, the EPA has to step in and take action when a state is informed about water problems and doesn't do anything for 30 days, as the state here didn't do. The EPA knew for months and months, never warned the people of Flint not to drink the water. As president, would you fire the head of the EPA?
Well, I think that the people here in the region who knew about this and failed to follow what you just said rightly, the law required, have been eliminated from the EPA.
So far, one person has resigned.
Well, I don't know how high it goes. I would certainly be launching an investigation. I think there is one.
Right.
I was told that, some of the higher-ups were pushing to get changes that were not happening. So I would have a full investigation, determine who knew what when, and yes, people should be fired. How far up it went, I don't know. But as far as it goes, they should be relieved because they failed this city. But let me just add this, Anderson. This is not the only place where this kind of action is needed. We have a lot of communities right now in our country where the level of toxins in the water, including lead, are way above what anybody should tolerate. We have a higher rate of tested lead in people in Cleveland than in Flint. So I'm not satisfied with just doing everything we must do for Flint. I want to tackle this problem across the board. And if people know about it and they're not acting and they're in the government at any level, they should be forced to resign.
Senator Sanders, would President Sanders fire the head of the EPA?
President Sanders would fire anybody who knew about what was happening and did not act appropriately. And President Sanders would make the point that how does it happen in the wealthiest country in the history of the world? What are our priorities when, among others, Republicans today are fighting for hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks for the wealthiest people? How did we have so much money available to go to war in Iraq and spend trillions of dollars, but somehow not have enough money, not just for Flint? Secretary is right. There are communities all over this country. It's not just infrastructure, it is education. Detroit's public school system is collapsing.
Thank you, Senator.
Anderson, the bottom line is, and what my campaign is changing our national priorities. We need a government that works for all of us,
Thank you,
not
Senator.
just wealthy campaign contributors.